So I decided to start doing some commentary on The Handmaid's Tale. Yes, I understand that I am several years behind, not even a season behind. I'm several years behind, but that's perfectly fine because what we're seeing in the social discourse, the political discourse, is a move closer to Gilead. So it's still relevant. And the fact that the last episode, the last season of The Handmaid's Tale will start next year. So it's probably a good idea for me to do a refresher on what is going on. So, what we have in the political realm from Christian conservatives, Christo fascists, and the Republican Party in general, which has basically been married to evangelicals since the Reagan era and the moral majority, we see women's rights, women's reproductive rights encroaching closer to the Handmaid's Tale, especially with the fall of Roe last year. We still see the Republicans getting thrashed each time that they have put reproductive rights on the ballot for a vote. They have been getting thrashed. However, that has not stopped them from trying. So that's the reason why we need to continue to talk about it, because women's rights are still up for debate. We still have religious extremism with the moral majority type of people, which is basically just shape shift over the years since the moral majority. We have the generation of the Joshua generation, which is trying to put as many political people at every level of government. We have Project 2025, which is a whole manifesto, a 900-page workbook, a handbook to train these people up and ready to go soon as they have a Republican president. The religious extremism can be seen right now with the House Speaker. Looking at you, Mike Johnson. We got authoritarianism that's in season. Former President Trump was like, "Yay, let's go dictators. I like dictators." We got Republicans basically pushing and have been pushing for a theocracy for decades, for generations. And we got social inequality that is being pushed by hyperinflation, stagflation, whatever you want to call it, with these prices. So there's no middle class. There's no extra money. Everybody is just here for survival's sake. So and then the environment, climate change, all of these storms. It all has us looking like Gilead, the live action reality. This is where we're going. So let's start from the very beginning with season 1. So one thing, when I went back and I rewatched it, and the first generation of handmaids, can you imagine what it was like to be living your life free, and now all of a sudden you're under this regime where you are reduced to nothing but a womb? When I was watching it, and allow me to nerd out a little bit, it had me thinking about what happened after Reconstruction, when these people who were formerly slaves were now free, and they were living free. And during Reconstruction, they could actually have a life. They were living. And then white folks shut that down. Like, nope, we're about to change all that. And after the Rutherford Compromise, that's when vagrancy laws and Black laws were enacted. And that is the kind of thing, even though this is about women's freedom, the vagrancy laws and Black laws is what helped restrict Black people back again into their subservient roles. So that's what kind of came to mind at first. So in this country and globally, birth rates are falling off a cliff. They're falling off a cliff. And so just like in The Handmaid's Tale, leaders are looking to rectify that. And how do you rectify that? You keep talking about it. You take away women's access. You don't allow women to get sterilized. You try to keep control of women. You keep pressing with religious indoctrination. They are really, really trying it. And they're doing it from a heavy-handed, controlling type of position. They're not doing it in a way that's like, let's let the environment flourish. Let's be as free. Let's have a world that is thriving. No, we're just going to have these heavy-handed tactics. Now, the aunts in the Handmaid's Tale parallel exactly to the religiously indoctrinated women of right now, these Christo-fascist women of right now that push controlling women, taking away the right to votes. They are a weapon, and they're a weapon because they got just a little bit of control. They can't have kids, but like Aunt Lydia, she's like, you guys will have the babies. You should be so lucky to have your wombs filled with a baby. Um, and talking about how those other women were dirty women. That's the reason why they're unwomen and they're in the colonies. But you are lucky. The aunts are important to preserving the patriarchy and preserving Gilead and pushing a theocracy here in the United States because they are a weapon. They are taking the religious, they are taking the patriarchy, the religious manifestos, and putting it and manifesting it through a female voice. That is the reason why they are so powerful. Now, for the handmaids are basically just a womb. They're just supposed to lay there and do their duty. And by their duty, that means to take the, the baby batter of these men and create life. They are nothing more than that. They're supposed to be silent. They're supposed to be meek. They're supposed to participate in the ceremony without complaints. Because if they do complain, there are consequences, dire consequences in this world. If you are not a top level woman, a wife, you are a handmaid, and the handmaids are the uterus, the wombs, the incubators. There are the Marthas who have aged out, and they're basically like servants in the household of the wives. And then you have unwomen. So the unwomen are no longer useful for their wombs. They're elderly. They are not meek. They're not silent. Some of these women are sent here because it is a punishment. And so they are sent to these toxic lands to clean up. And so back when I was talking about how climate change and Gilead, climate change of this world and Gilead are working together, where these unwomen are working it shows exactly where we could be going to if we continue down this path of destroying the environment in our actual United States. Hard labor, punishment for women who are bucking the system, have the nerve to be a lesbian or something, or just, their wombs can't be used. So their labor can be used. So this is just a recap of what happened in the very beginning of The Handmaid's Tale, just to lay the foundation. Now, I recognize that people will say that Margaret Atwood, when she wrote this book, she was pulling from history and that this has already happened, and that a lot of these things are currently still happening where women are being used. And I totally get that. But we're still going to talk about it. And as I talk about this, I will weave in some histories and things that make it relevant to talk about still right now, even for the people who choose to not watch the show because it hits too close to home or because we have already seen it play out. Go ahead, jump in the comments, and hopefully I'll be able to drop one of these videos at least once a week. So just let me know what you want to see. And just like I said, just join the conversation. Like, comment, share.